Good morning and welcome everybody to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by BB. There is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome guys, happy Tuesday. Just like yesterday, we are closing in on the Thanksgiving holidays. We have a week though, or at the very least a few days before that, of some illiquid trading. We're seeing some movement on Bitcoin. Not as much movement from equities, but of course, we'll probably talk about some individuals over in those markets. There is, I still think, some opportunity that will be present, not just this week, but obviously, of course, into December. And we will definitely talk about that. But I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max, Louis Tuesday, and Unbothered Chef Jackus. Welcome, guys. Hope you all have had a great start to your week as well. Before we can start cooking, before we can get delving into these markets a little bit deeper, what we expect from things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, maybe even some individual tickers over in equity markets. You guys know what I'm going to ask you. You can smash, slam, destroy, or as I always say, any verb that you need to use to justify being able to hit that like button. We would be very appreciative, and so would the algorithmic gods, or whatever that you want to call them, over at Big Tech. They love when we hit the like button, but we promise we got some alpha for you guys as we get closer to Thanksgiving here. But let's go ahead and get talking about what's happening in markets today. We kind of had a bit of a raid on long stops right before New York Open. Bitcoin, for a brief period of time, was trading below 92K. I think that was the level Jack has talked about on Market Check yesterday. That was kind of a level that we were looking at for a certain suspect stops to be run after longing the top. Maybe we touch on that a little bit today as well. But I don't think it's completely surprising that we saw Bitcoin pull back, right? We effectively gave, and pullback's relative. I think that needs to be said as well. Bitcoin effectively gave a 50% rally out of the previous range that had been trading in for 7 or 8 months. And, now we're kind of just getting a pullback off of the psychologically most important level, I would argue, in Bitcoin's entire history, right? 100K per Bitcoin. We had that whole stream last week really hoping to see it, but I'm still hopeful that we can see that hopefully as soon as this week, assuming that Bitcoin found its low this morning. If we start to dribble a little bit below that, maybe we can start talking about, something like 85 to 87K. But right now, I think we've had a pretty good reaction this morning thus far. The boomers are once again bidding Bitcoin, as they have been for pretty much the entirety of November. I don't really expect that trend to change anytime soon. So although equities are kind of just chopping around and doing nothing, I think we continue to see that bid come in on Bitcoin and obviously crypto as an entire industry. But that's more or less what I'm seeing. As well as the fact that I think that we're probably finally going to see things like GME start to rip in equity markets. We talked about memes, not just in crypto, but also in equities, finally starting to have the conditions to be ready to run, right? Like I said, the S&P is just kind of chopping here. Volatility is dropping. It's the perfect backdrop for things like IWM to start moving. And, we can kind of use proxies for that, such as Robinhood and GME. And we are kind of seeing some movement there this morning. So that probably will serve as a precursor to what we are going to see from crypto in December. We are heading into the end of the month. We know how that tends to go as far as trading goes. And of course, it is an illiquid holiday week. So ripe to be, or to, at the very least, to see stops run, throughout this week and probably both directions. So we'll see what we get, but we're going to talk about all of that and more with you guys. I'd love to open the floor, get a good idea of what you guys are seeing in the markets as well. Like I said, a little bit of altcoin blood to start the week. I tend to lean that we're getting close to a reversal point than not. And I think you're kind of seeing that reflected by some TradFi proxies. What do you guys think?
Is it a Black Friday sale into a Santa Claus rally? Is that what we're getting here?
That would be that could be cool.
What are your thoughts on the Santa Claus rally? I heard that a lot, I feel like, over the last couple of years.
Well,
what's the thesis behind that?
The Santa Claus rally is, that's kind of like the narrative that gets put on it, but it's always a factor of like the rebalancing flows that we see at the end of every year from TradFi. We've kind of talked about them a little bit on this show. How in the back half of December and the first half of January, the rebalancing flows in equities this year are going to be like $5 trillion. So that's usually what supports the Christmas rally that we see throughout markets, right? You see that uptick in liquidity, uptick in the bid, reallocation probably into stronger assets, especially in January, right? You look at some coins in crypto that especially the VC heavy coins, they tend to get bid the hardest on January, or they sell off the hardest in January, as we saw in 2022. It's very much in line with the trend that we see these flows just kind of continue to reinforce whatever movement the market is gravitating towards. But yeah, no, I mean the Christmas rally I think is absolutely real because we are going to get those flows in the second half of December, the first half of January, and probably will to some degree front run those flows in the beginning of December.
Yeah, it seems like there is always contradicting signals in these narratives. Like, listen, there's a Santa rally, but also there is a profit taking by the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
So you're like, pick your winner. Then you have always the opening of the year rally again. So it's like, whatever works for you. Or it's like sell in May and go away, but then everyone talks about like the Q4 rally, because markets are generally bullish by the end of the year. So like, yeah, there's some truth to it. There is some seasonality, but it always needs to be adjusted for the current price movements, which is something I discussed, by the way, in September, right? And August, I was saying like, hey, listen, everyone's looking for the September dump. And seasonality-wise, that's true. You shouldn't overlook it. But we had the dump in August, and therefore the pump in September just made sense alongside the PA. And PA meaning price action, and so it unfolded, and we've been going up ever since. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of those TradFi flows, we've kind of gotten or they've kind of developed a certain rhythm to them, right? I mean, we'll always attribute a narrative to the way that price is moving, but we have seen just kind of like flat and even negative returns at times in the second half of months. And then in the first half of months, or of basically every month, we get positive, we get supportive flows that really boost price, especially on things like Bitcoin. I think if you back test them this year, we've had, I think, the most price appreciation typically occurring during the first half of almost every month of this year. So I kind of feel like December might be a month where we break that trend a little bit, not in the sense that we won't pump in the first half of December, but that we could just pump throughout the entirety of the month. Because for the first time in a very long time, you have additional supportive flows into the end of the year because it is the biggest options expiry of the entire calendar year. But I don't want to touch too much on that type of stuff. But I do think it is a positive tailwind for Bitcoin and crypto. I think especially for things like ETH, when you talk about more liquidity entering the market, what stands to benefit the most? I really think it's some of these major assets that haven't quite caught up to Bitcoin yet.
You should totally talk about more, about options and stuff, Tommy. I think well, I would be interested. I hope people would be interested too.
I would, because like if there's one thing I don't know a lot about, it's options. Like that's like one thing I've never really I've traded options here and there, but I don't, stuff like what you just mentioned. Like couldn't tell you, like no idea. So I'm happy to learn.
Basically, we go up into Vixpiration and we go down after, and then supportive flows come back and they bid us back into Vixpiration. But December is different because we have year-end rebalancing flows. So it should just be positive seasonal flows for pretty much the entirety of December.
Okay. All right. Wait, hold on. So year, what do you mean? Like, explain to me like I'm 5, right? Like, what do you mean by year-end rebalancing?
Explain it to Louis like he wears a mask while he's in his car driving by himself. Okay.
So basically, you have a full year where you could potentially be buying calls or puts for the end of 2024, for example. So naturally, it's going to be the time of the year with the most options interest. And given that the trend into December has been so positive, it's highly likely, given how self-reinforcing TradFi positioning is, that those flows continue to be positive, right? Because they've been positive for effectively the entire year. Expiration is when you typically see, it's like a specific options expiry related to volatility. So you typically see some of the positioning that has kept the market moving higher come off. And that's why you kind of see the market pull back in the second half of every month. But, we have the first half of the month coming up in about a week. And like I said, December has those very positive seasonal flows because equities will be rebalancing into the end of the year. And this year in particularly, the back half of December and the first half of January will be experiencing about $5 trillion worth of rebalancing flows. So a huge, huge burst of liquidity is coming into the markets. And that is why we will get more than likely this really nice Santa rally into January. Not just in the S&P. I mean, the S&P probably won't be blowing off in December, but I think some of these riskier proxies to bet on, right? Something like a Bitcoin, which has amazing narratives right now, crypto, which, I don't think you could have more positive narratives than what crypto is experiencing right now, will continue to catch the bid. And I also think that these conditions are ripe for equity markets to see their own memes run, right? Because we're seeing IWM rip, we're seeing tech kind of cool off. We've talked before about how important that relationship between big tech and small caps are. Hedge funds have basically been running this long NASDAQ short IWM trade more or less for like 20 years. So when you see the NASDAQ just kind of chop and cool off, it opens the door when you also have volatility falling for something like GameStop or for small caps to experience these huge run-ups kind of during that phase. So I don't know if we'll have the same level of a Christmas rally in equities, but I do think the overall picture is very favorable for Bitcoin and crypto to have one. I hope
that was way better for me. Yeah, that was hopefully for the rest. But no, but it makes a lot of sense when you put it like that. And yeah, I would agree that maybe not the S&P and like the NASDAQ go on face rippers, but maybe it's time like the IWN, something we saw that was attempting to break out yesterday, or these low cap stocks like GME and stuff like that. Maybe it's a time where you see capital flows, and we've seen tail end of the year. I
didn't know if it was my Wi-Fi
because
everybody always
no, it's Louis.
Am I good?
Yeah, you seem good now.
Yeah.
I feel laggy. What's going on? But yeah, it makes sense. And then like I was saying, I really do think, though that rebalancing, probably a good allocation good portion of the allocation will go towards the low cap stocks and stuff like crypto, because historically that's what we've seen. Like looking back to 4 years ago, coming into around the same time of the year, like this is IWM low cap stocks, like November hits, and then you just see kind of a face ripping rally all the way up until early next year. So a lot of that rebalancing where they're closing and opening up new positions. A lot of those new positions likely go into stuff like IWM, Russell, but now, they have options like Bitcoin ETFs and ETH ETFs, and, crypto as a whole will also probably catch a bit. And that's usually the seasonality for altcoins is usually, December going into January, February is usually the most bullish time. So it makes a lot of sense when you put it in that way. And then plus just looking at our historical data where, outperformance is usually at this time of year. So it's all kind of coming together. So, let's see if we are kind of front running that Thanksgiving type dump that we're used to seeing, right? And maybe we have a nice holiday. We can enjoy ourselves and not have to watch our portfolios bleed on holiday. But we will see. Historically, crypto loves to put a pin in your side when you're trying to enjoy time with family.
Louis, why I got a question for you, Louis. Why do you think that you're going to get to enjoy a holiday with your family?
I
But
haven't.
I don't.
in
You've been.
6
Hang
years.
on. I'm not done with you yet. You've been in crypto long enough. You should know better by now that you're going to have your holiday ruined by the price action. Okay. I don't know if something's going on with you, if you're just not seeing things correctly. There's no holiday or weekend that goes enjoyably. Okay.
Yeah, I'm.
So
I'm
I'm
just
curious, like
optimistic.
what's up? You know, I
I'm
mean,
just
like,
an
what
optimist at heart. I
are
can't
you
help it.
familiar with the Thanksgiving Day massacre? I mean, that's
I am.
it's a
Let's-
yearly
You,
occurrence.
you are just doomed to be the little investor.
Yeah, you're gonna
How's that
show
little
up.
investor doing?
You're gonna show up, and it's how's your little Bitcoin thing doing? Come on down and tell us how your how's your little crypto thing doing. There's our
Come
little
on,
investor.
sweetie.
My
Don't
my
be shy.
Jackus, can you pull up that meme of the guy in the attic and he's like looking down and the family's like looking at him and they're like, "There's our little investor." Can you pull that?
He has the 25-year-old analyzer smile too.
Yeah.
my
This
my
is-
favorite memory of Bitcoin, or rather crypto, rugging me on Thanksgiving was 2021. I think I was actually short Bitcoin, but I lost I mean, Bitcoin dumped, I think probably 10% that day, but I lost a good chunk of money because Snowbank rugged during my Thanksgiving dinner. And I remember checking my phone after I finished eating and thinking, like, that can't be real. It was awful, but thankfully I took a little bit of profit a few days before that, but I still had about half my investment in there. Was down probably 60 or 70% by the time I finished eating. And yeah, you can't ever truly enjoy a holiday with your family in this market.
Hey guys, I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, I'll be back.
I mean, look at last Thanksgiving. I mean, it wasn't necessarily super bearish. We kind of just chopped sideways until literally December 1st and we pumped. So, I mean, a scenario like that is on the table, right?
I hated
Kinda
the
what
holiday price action last year. I really
What?
did. I hated the holiday price action last year. It was just chop and grind. There was
We
nothing.
literally just
special to it.
ranged for the last week in November. And
And you
this
had
wasn't
the,
even like bull market territory yet. And then literally just on December 1st, we just like clockwork. Bang. Look at that.
Oh my god.
That's our little investor. Why did you come down and tell everyone about those little duck coins of yours?
Yeah.
Are you gonna
What
tell
about
your family about Dog with Hat?
What about that
Dog
little
only
dog
has
that
a
has a hat? How is it doing?
Well, let me tell you
Wait.
about this this dog that I found that's better than the dog with the hat. It's called Bonk.
It's a
Isn't
better
that
dog
is
than
that the same
yours.
thing as Dogecoin? No, it's a totally different dog that we've tokenized.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So funny.
But yeah, so that's last Thanksgiving. Let's go back to the one before.
I feel like the conversations at the dinner table for Thanksgiving this year are going to be a lot more positive, hopefully. How nice would it be if they floated Bitcoin up to like 100 into Thanksgiving dinner, and then that's the local top, and then they chop it some more? That would be kind of funny to me, but I guess we'll see. I do tend to like the low from this morning, though. The more time has passed. I know, Jackus, you were calling for 92K yesterday. So
91.
I mean, we pretty much came right into 91.5. How are you feeling about the low this morning, and where do you think we go next?
I think we could still see the low getting swept potentially and see a little bit lower. But I feel pretty good. You know, this is something, everyone that is in the BB Discord, everyone who read my newsletter, or even I made a note early in the week on Twitter that I think 91K comes first and then 100K. 110K. So totally normal, bull market pullback. We are, how much is it from the highs? Is it, it's just 8%, like what are we even talking about, right? Like that's nothing for BTC bull market pullbacks. And frankly speaking, this is probably the scariest pullback since, the one at the end of September when we went from, it's crazy to say these numbers nowadays, but when we went from 65 down to 60, that was probably the scariest pullback since then. And that's nearly 2 months ago. So yeah, it's totally normal. People will be thinking like, hey, what's going on? Like, this wasn't planned. I was told, 100K should be next and so forth. But from the bull market perspective, it's totally amazing. Like you should be looking to just scoop up the dips. Really, we had one of the finest breakouts you can imagine from the 4-year long cup and handle formation going all the way to 2021. Yeah, things are looking good. And it's good to offset the feelings with this bounce down. It's also nice to see, it's nice and sad at the same time to see people being bearish all the way from the lows. They flip bullish right at the top, and oh no, they would be flipping back to bearish down here.
We knew they were gonna take his stop before going higher, man. We knew they were gonna do that.
I literally replied to his tweet too. I said, "Yeah, it's gonna bull chop until you flip bias, and then we pull back." And literally, that's exactly what happened.
Oh man,
I was gonna quote tweet it, but I was like, this guy's getting killed already. Like, there's no point to add to the fire here. But
my bold prediction for Thanksgiving week is that everybody's stops are gonna get run.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna run everybody's stop, and then we're gonna send above 100K. That's probably my best guess.
Okay.
They are not gonna trap me.
So last bear market, Thanksgiving was horrible. At least the first Thanksgiving. I mean, this is what we got going into December, but that was after a full cycle. Let's look at. I want to get 4 examples of each Thanksgiving.
Yeah, what about December 2020? Right, it was a bull market December, and that was absolutely amazing. So
yeah, so let's look at it. Let's look at this here.
The market was ranging for like 5 days during prior to Christmas, and then right after Christmas it just continued to rally, and it was rallying prior to it. It was one of the best Decembers actually. So yeah.
Okay, so this was 2020. So if we had to compare right to where we are now to where we are we're in a previous cycle, I'd have to say the most closest data point we have is November of 2020, right? Because that was the 2020 4-year cycle, post halving year, and going into kind of like your bull market for crypto. And, last kind of Thanksgiving, whether we had a local dip or not, I mean, we could zoom in regardless of the local price action. Let's see. Regardless of the local price action, it looks like we got a tiny sell-off here. But that sell-off kind of marked the low and was kind of like the first major pullback coming off the lows, that where it entered the bull market. So, we had November 2020, Thanksgiving, looks like we had a sell-off, but that marked the low for basically a rally to all-time highs in 2021. So that's not a bad sign at all. Obviously 2022 or end of 2021. Yeah, this was a bad Thanksgiving, but this is at a way different time period of the cycle. If you look at these things in 4-year cycles, right? So this was coming out of a bull market, obviously way worse of a sell-off going into Thanksgiving. This was brutal. I remember this very vividly.
I fumbled that trade so bad because I knew we were going to dump from that structure. I round tripped the Thanksgiving dump, kept holding my short for like a week and a half. And then the morning of December 4th, I closed out on like a 1K stop run and price dumped like 17K in the next 24 hours. Right here. So brutal, man. But that's crypto for you.
And then let's see, 2022. basically chopped and marked the absolute low for the market as a whole. So that's bullish. And our most recent Thanksgiving, as in last year, also we chopped right to December 1st and then pumped to all-time highs. So I'm seeing 1 out of 4 examples here were very bad and the rest were very good, right? Whether we pull back locally or not, they marked basically pivot points in the market. 1, 2, 3. This one was pretty bad. Obviously, but as we were exiting a bull market, we were entering a bull market, so completely different spots in the market cycle. So, I mean, overall, that's not a bad ratio there. So, I mean, the fact that we have experienced now a nice 8% pullback from our high here so far makes me feel, going into the holiday, makes me feel pretty good about going into this Thanksgiving. So if Max was here, that's what I would tell him as to why I'm pretty optimistic here. But yeah, we'll see. You never know. Can we come down into here on a cascade? Sure, we can come back here, reject, roll over, and then go. But guess what? A move like this, while locally will be pretty detrimental to altcoins, but zooming out, it'll look like a little blip. And when we're trading up at 100, 150K, you know what I mean? And it's just a normal correction and an uptrend. Like, there's nothing you can do about it. You just got to be able to stomach them and get through it. Because usually on the tail end of it, on the other side, is Valhalla.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, probably the best 2 cases to compare the current December is with, and I hope I actually need a chart here. Let's use this one. Could be doable. And probably the best one would be, again, 2020 and 2016, or maybe 17, although that was kind of not exactly the same time. But if the reason I'm looking at these two is because we were, during a nice bull market. So like you have a 2016, this is where December starts, and it's basically up only ever since December started, and it's basically up only until it ends. It ends right here. So this is your first kind of this is your December in 2016, although we were not exactly trading above prior all-time highs, but we were getting close to it. Obviously, situation is never the same, and we always have to contextualize things. The next scenario is, by the end of the cycle. But again, seasonality, is very good, but it's just that. And you always need to put things in perspective. So here in December, we were at the final stages of the parabola after, thousands of %. So it would make sense that we would continue to pump, right? It simply makes sense. And if I look at 2020, I think this is probably the best case scenario to have for where we are right now, because at that point we were flirting with all-time highs. As you can see, this is where we touched it, and then we obviously broken through. So this is probably the best case scenario we can look for. I don't think that the seasonality really matters that much for like December, during 2022, for example, because it was an obvious bear market. And then saying like, yeah, December, is December. December is just going to be bad because, this one was. To me, it makes no sense. So we really have to contextualize things and look at the periods when price was essentially, in this region, and it was trading inside of here. So because that's where we are right now. We had a cycle. we've broken above and you are in a bull market territory. So I do think that seasonality wise, December usually tends to be good, and Q1 just as well. And you know, I really don't know what people are worried about, so if they are, because this is a very, very amazing looking chart right here. And you just have
I've never
significant...
seen a chart top from a structure that looks like the range that Bitcoin just broke out of. Like I genuinely can't. I rack my brain for obviously a million different scenarios, and I can't come up with one.
No, there is not one. Makes no sense to be like local top. Yeah, like listen, obviously, we've been telling you all the way up here that this is the likely scenario. I was pulling up the gold BTC comparison with this basically, and people did not really care much. It just makes sense. It's totally normal that you're gonna get some pause. Obviously, would depend on the time frame, but we could be like right here, in this little pullback on this one. So it's totally normal, but higher is next. Whether you would be to do even this one, it's good for higher low. And I think lots of people, waiting for much lower prices, likely not gonna get them. This is what everyone would wish for right now. And if you are getting it, then you need to first get FOMO'd in, and only then you can get it.
Man, if they did that, that would just be absolutely awful. But obviously not my expectation at this point.
Yeah, like people forget that if you look back, and if you had March and then you move to the exact same level, but you would have done it in March on this drop, right? And you would drop here. That would be super scary, but the sentiment wouldn't really change much, and you would continue. Versus you guys saw how everyone was flipping bearish and calling for 40K, because we took so much time for this pullback. And obviously, now we can tell that we've been up from this point, and you can get something like this.
Careful with that drawing, Jack. I was like, where's he going with this?
But
you can learn how to do that kind of TA with the BB Academy, guys. Jackus teaches exactly how to draw
that. Professional TA, guys.
This is very advanced, though, guys. This is very advanced. So it's at the end of the course.
This is how you outperform institutions, guys. Institutions, they just randomly buy the top, but no words. I prefer not to continue to speak. If I speak, I'm in trouble. But yeah, it's totally normal. So very good. No worries, guys. Let's just appreciate it, right? Let's do what I said down here. I was saying, let the bears have their fun, Actually, right here, I think I was saying one last drop, and below this low, and then their home run collapse, and they had their fun. They were laughing, they were the 1% bears. They were the way. You just need to let them ease the pressure. You just need to let them.
It's part of it.
I need to stop seeing, there needs to stop being a thread written every day about why MicroStrategy is a Ponzi that's going to zero. It might be true. I would argue that it probably is true, but I think the frequency of posts that you're seeing talking about it, I mean, how many people are going to catch something like that when it actually does finally unwind? They're all going to be bought into the Ponzi by the time that it actually does.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I think there is a lot more to this Ponzi, and people forget how long Ponzi's can go and to how absurd they can get. And I think even we do not have to just go in crypto. We can just look at stocks and what they did in .com bubble, and they've been rallying for years, and people thought, hey, this is really absurd, and they started to short it. They got liquidated because it went even higher.
Yeah. Well, that's why I like, you just look at Bitcoin's lower time frame price action. I almost feel like last Thanksgiving week is such a great example. Anyway, people who thought they were catching a trending move in either direction. I mean, just brutal, violent chop. I think it's going to become, especially with TradFi now being involved in this market on a lower time frame, you're seeing Bitcoin have these very predatory moves around New York Open. Specifically meant to shake leverage traders out of their position. That's not something that's happened, or just started occurring within the trend. That's happened for months. But I imagine with Bitcoin in an uptrend, the opportunity to be more predatory and run those stops, like it's going to be there, and it's probably going to become more and more of a factor. I think, like, if you're just trading Bitcoin on leverage. But that's just me.
So Max, I went back to the last 4 Thanksgivings, and only one was pretty bearish. The rest were bullish.
Nah, you're just trying to have a nice time with your family, Louis. You're not getting it. Sorry, buddy. You're going to be getting trading view alerts of horrible prices right while you're taking your first bite of turkey.
Yeah,
I don't make the rules.
Just throw it up.
Dude, you know what it is you're probably right, but the Thanksgiving Day massacre that I remember from like a few years back, I can't forget, bro. I can't forget what they did to me. Look how they massacred my boy.
Yeah, my boy.
Which one are you talking about? The 2021?
Yeah. I remember, bro. I remember I'm just like sitting there with family. I don't know if it was on Thanksgiving or just like within a day or two of it. It might have been on Thanksgiving. And I remember just like pulling out my phone and just being like, motherfuckers. They fucking, of course.
I think they took it from like 57 to 51 on Thanksgiving.
And it was a bad cascade too. Like, it was quick. I remember.
Yeah, that was
and they bartered it
like a liquidation.
Yeah,
but the fact that it didn't hold the price, the liquidation, and it continued lowered was a good indication that it's a bear market. And that's also the reason why I said that after the August drop in markets, you shouldn't be going below that, because that would be bad.
Context is key with everything, right? Like, we're not in November, December of 2021. We're a year before that. So next Thanksgiving will be a massacre. This one, we might even be front running it. Like, most of the downside might already be, might have already happened. Just kind of based on what Bitcoin's doing locally and a lot of altcoins, it kind of feels like most of the pain is probably already behind us, truthfully.
Yeah.
But Louis, you're still not going to have a nice holiday. Don't worry. They'll get you somewhere.
You know, what wouldn't surprise me is if we saw a run into like 100, 101, 2 this week, and then back down to run the long stops again before the real price discovery above 100K. That would be a real mind fuck, I think.
Tommy, you masochist, bro. What's wrong with you? Why would you say that? You're prophesizing that they would take somebody's stop loss and then run it back, Tommy. Is that still the camp that you're in?
Oh, they did. They took his stop.
Oh, he's out?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're good.
We were talking about it before we went live, Max, how he's calling for like sub 80 is still possible or something like that. In the same tweet, he said he was stopped out. And so good sign, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Live long enough to see yourself become a gigafade. Whole world that we live in.
It's crazy. Happens every time.
I was actually saying, right? Not sure when you joined, Max, but I was saying that it's exactly on the context, and it really matters when the December unfolds, whether that's bull market, like, are you trading above prior cycle all-time highs? Are you trading just below it, or is it a bear market, right? So this is when we had the double top and swept the highs, broken below, and it was, contextually, like, everything started to sell off. Obviously, even if December can be good seasonality wise, it's not going to be if you are in a bear market. It just makes sense, except rare cases like March, which is historically super bullish, or so, and I think October. But if you are trading above prior cycle all-time highs, and I was saying 2022 comes really the closest as an example, because 2016, that was we were just below prior all-time high, and then it came to being that December ended up to being the last stages of the parabola. So obviously that is going to be insanely bullish. But yeah, I think there's no reason not to expect bullish December this time around as well. Also, given how monthly looks this time around. So yeah.
I agree with that, Jackus. I agree with it. They just have me scarred from 2021. That's all.
PTSD. You are that Vietnam doc. Right.
There's a little bit of that guy within all of us, right?
What, the chill guy?
The not chill guy. Yeah, exactly.
This is Max in December.
That's me when that's when I sit down and take my first bite of stuffing right there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be on
He's
it the whole dinner, and we're gonna go around the table. All right, everyone, say what you're thankful for, and I'm just gonna be like waiting for my phone to ping me that it's over.
I'm thankful for my coins. Oh man! Speaking of Thanksgiving, because I feel like I have to ask, and maybe I'd be better off asking it tomorrow because we'd be a day away from Thanksgiving. But what is? I know this Jackus probably won't have an answer to this one, but Max and Louis, what is your favorite Thanksgiving food and why?
Stuffing, bro. Easy.
That's the correct answer.
I like the. You guys ever do like the yams with like the melted marshmallows on top?
Of course.
Oh, that's my go-to. Other than that, I'm not a big fan of Thanksgiving food, to be honest. That, maybe some biscuits.
I'm a fan, bro. I'm a fan.
That's about it for me.
I'm a big stuffing guy. I love stuffing. Great. I will have a million portions of it. I used to do this competition with my cousin about who could eat the most stuffing on any given year. I've never lost. He's much smaller than me.
Never lost.
I still take that competition dead serious every year. I will not lose.
Never lost.
But yeah, I love Thanksgiving leftovers. I love the food. It's probably my favorite holiday, quite honestly, because I love to eat. So if you are a fellow Thanksgiving enjoyer, in the comments, throw a W in the chat.
Yeah, be frying the turkey.
I haven't done that, but my dad tried that last
year. Way
better.
I
heard it was good.
You say deep fry?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like a lot of people die every year trying to do that. I think I saw some videos of that, man. It's not good.
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous. You got to be careful. You can't put it in frozen. That's what people go wrong. Because if you know anything about fryolators, if you put water in a fryolator, it like bubbles up like crazy, starts a fire. So if people try to put a frozen turkey in there with like ice on it, yeah, you're gonna get an oil explosion. So make sure it's a little thawed out. Make sure the temperature is not too hot. Keep it around 450, 400.
Look at Louis just saved the life right now, guys.
Yeah, you can learn a lot on this show.
I saw this video on X the other day. It was like firefighters showing you like how dangerous it is, and they're in like full suits, and they have like a long like stick, and they like drop the frozen turkey in there, and it just like engulfs them in flames.
I mean, that's terrible. That happens, but I mean, it's just funny that we go. I mean, isn't that so American to risk your life to fry?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah,
literally. Actually, a smoked turkey sounds fire.
That
Just
does
like
sound good.
a slow smoked turkey. Oof, that sounds really good.
I love Thanksgiving in the South too, because they sometimes will have mac and cheese for Thanksgiving.
Ooh,
And
yeah, that sounds good.
that
real
should be
nice.
a regular Thanksgiving food.
It ain't easy being cheesy.
Yeah. Max knows how I feel about cheese. Truly few.
Connoisseur.
Oh man. Jackass. Oh my god. So what are we thinking, guys? Or do we want to look at some shitcoin charts? I know we've been looking at Bitcoin a lot. I kind of feel that like this is a pretty good spot for ETH to be bouncing, locally speaking. Maybe not outperforming Bitcoin, but if that is the case, we probably see shitcoin start to bounce from here. I'm kind of in the I'm leaning that we're going to see another Bitcoin dominance rally from here. I'm kind of still in the minority when it comes to that regard, but
How dare you?
I think we're really close to finally seeing that damn dominance index top.
Yeah, I mean, look, so I will revert back to this. It doesn't really matter because I think if we did see Bitcoin dominance go higher, it would be off the back of like 120K Bitcoin. But with that said, I think we are starting to see some interesting behavior out of altcoins here. Where, I mean, even yesterday, right? Like Bitcoin was pulling back pretty hard yesterday. And ETH really wasn't behaving as I would expect it to, right? ETH was holding up pretty well. It's still holding up pretty well. A lot of altcoins are just kind of looking like, they're just kind of looking like they're ready to go. You know what I mean? So I want to say that Bitcoin dominance is topped, but I will also just kind of again preface that I don't think it really matters too much because I think it would just be another situation of like Bitcoin leads another rally and alts get dragged up kicking and screaming even if Bitcoin dominance goes higher. But I do think from a seasonal perspective, it doesn't make sense to hold out on alts too much longer. Honestly, like December through April, cyclically and seasonally has been the time to be heavy alts, not Bitcoin. But, it's possible that Bitcoin dominance is topped. I don't know, Jackus, if you have a Bitcoin dominance chart you could pull up. I know you're working on a masterpiece right now, but Bitcoin dominance is definitely showing some signs that it might be ready to roll over, in my opinion.
Dog, it's just cracking me up, man.
I mean, Bitcoin dominance, like it looks like it
Do you know how it looks?
It's like 50-50.
Like a market maker is pushing the price up on perpetual futures, on spot while loading on perpetual futures short, and then he just sells all that spot that he used to prop up the price. That's how it looks like.
Yeah, it does. Jackus, do you think it's topped, or we make another stab at the highs?
Just for the people who had no idea what I just said, right? So you have an asset, and that goes like this: nobody wants to buy it, nobody, or like there is no other bid. And so what the market maker does is that he just keeps buying it on spot, and then each high he loads up on short. And he's loading up on short here, and then the market drops, and then he buys spot. He loads up short, then he buys spot, and he's propping up the price like this. And then when his position is big enough on the short, he just dumps all the spot that he bought here. He just dumps it here and sends the price to Hades. So this is what it looks like.
The KNC chart.
Hades?
Hades. Yeah. Study origin of the moves, right?
I think one more spike and then it's ready to roll. I will say I am not someone who thinks the Bitcoin dominance will trade all the way back down to last cycle lows, but I don't think it has to, like Max says. It really just has to budge a little bit. and we've seen a little bit of budge from Bitcoin dominance. The cycle and altcoins have run a lot. Imagine if we see a 5 to 10% move down on Bitcoin dominance. It doesn't have to be 20 to 30%. 5 to 10% would be huge for altcoins, given the context of where Bitcoin USD is trading.
So Tommy, you are thinking that we're in more of like a 2016 to 17 regime compared to previous cycle, or compared to the previous cycle. I mean, if you look at this, you really got a crazy alt season in 2016, 2017. Now, granted, altcoins were a lot newer. There was a lot more to gain against Bitcoin. Are you thinking we see like a Frankenstein version of 2016, 2017?
Yeah, I think it'll look a little bit different, right? Because that was kind of like the more or less the creation of the altcoin space. I know altcoins existed before that, but that was really the cycle that truly embedded them into crypto lore. Especially as we got closer to the end of 2018. I don't think Bitcoin dominance will do quite the same thing, but I will say what gives me a little bit of I do tend to think that ETH and SOL will start to run soon. If those are bottoming against their Bitcoin pairs, I definitely think you can paint the picture for Bitcoin dominance topping here soon. I don't know how far they're going to fall, but I do know, I have a lot more confidence in knowing who the next marginal bidder on Bitcoin is going to be, right? It's going to be Saylor. It's going to be BlackRock. It's going to be...
What the fuck?
Oh my goodness.
Did
a
he
fire
press the
alarm?
button?
He's trying to deep fry a turkey.
Yeah.
Place is an inferno.
Oh no. That sounds
Well,
like
Tommy's
rockets
alright.
are coming our way.
Patrick,
Guys,
cut it out.
you know what I find interesting since I have this chart here? I just did the timing on December's, right? And like it seems that every single time there was a bear market, there was a December, and obviously it came like more or less somehow seasonally, so usually close to the bottom, the December, right? Just before it or at it. And then there was one December in between, right? It was like the recovery phase. And then there was the first one that was kind of like, sorry, not the first one, the second one. And then there was the final one. And so like 3 Decembers in between. And what I think where we are right now is basically this one. And then there is coming the last one. So this was kind of the same, although each cycle is obviously different, right? Like, so this was more gradual move up. This was more like pump, then bear market, and then another pump. This is also more gradual, but with bigger accumulations in between. But seasonality wise, we are basically still just here. So we could even say that we are a little bit ahead, and that this is next. And if you look at the past cycle, it was no different. We had the big run up, then the December came right here. So again, if I were to, I could actually do the Decembers something like this. I'm gonna make it just a little bit more able to see. Then there was a one December, somewhere around here, and there's one December. Something like here. And so what happened each time is that when we were in this December, that was basically another year of market upside. And usually that's also, since I have the Bitcoin dominance and we have it marked, is usually when the alts really began to like appreciate. So it was this first one. This here, right here, it was the.
Jackets, can you do this? Could you mark them out like 1, 2, 3, and like just type out 1, 2, 3 next to it? That could be helpful.
Like this?
Yeah, exactly. Or even like 1 is the start of the the drop, and then 2 is like the second Thanksgiving after the first one.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. We see it.
Could be like 1A.
Yeah.
And then we could do 1B.
Yeah. Now you got it.
Bitcoin dominance, I feel like it's inevitable. It either reaches one of the two extremities over time, right? Like it's either going perpetually to 100% in logarithmic fashion, right? Not linear, or it's going to go to 0%.
Tommy, so you're a Loggles boy, huh?
0%.
Well, I think you have to view Bitcoin dominance in logarithmic mode, right?
I mean, I do. You know, you haven't always been such a log boy. You know, things are changing.
It's time for the loggles. It's
Log
that part of the
season.
cycle.
I can't wait to screenshot this chart and post it like I made it. It's going to be great. I'm going to get so much engagement. It's going to be fantastic.
Dude, the comments have cracked me up all show.
Do they?
That was the fire alarm, by the way.
Yeah, you
What
were
happened? Do you deep fry a turkey?
No, when I was coming up for coffee or from coffee around the morning call this morning, there were these people in the lobby and they're like, yeah, around 10 o'clock, you're probably going to hear an alarm. I thought they were just talking about in the lobby, but sure enough, it was also in my apartment. And it was very loud.
Mm-hmm. Hey guys, I want to tell you about something before we get into the next phase of the show here. So we are actually doing a BB trading competition in December. And I want to let you guys know that you can sign up. So we'll get back to the show here, but I want to let you guys know. So we're starting at December 1st. All right. So here's the landing page. I'm going to put the link in the comments if you guys want to join. So basically Blowfin's putting up 10,000 in rewards, but we're going to put up free memberships and tokens and stuff. So it's total about like 35 or 40,000 in prizes, which is huge. So yeah, if you want to participate, you can get free BB memberships, free merch, free tokens, and Blowfin's giving away Tether and stuff like that. So there's basically 4 days left to sign up, so I'll do it sooner rather than later. The link is right there in the comments. So we're thinking it'd be something fun to do as we head into, I would consider to be alt season. There's going to be a lot of opportunity. So yeah, just check that out, guys. Here's what the landing page looks like. All right. And we are going to open that up. I'll probably tweet about it later too. Let some more people get the chance to sign up. But yeah, it's going to be about $35,000 to $40,000 in prizes and value that we are giving away. And again, the link is, I just dropped it right there in the comment section. All right. So it's pretty epic, guys. It's going to be really fun, something fun we can cover here on the show. We're going to go over like the leaderboard. We might even if we get enough of you guys to sign up, we'll have like the leaders come on to the show or something like that. Talk to us a little bit about, how they're trading, things like that, And then of course,
how's your trading going?
Every time I think about that.
And you'll get some of course there's a lot of lucrative prizes here. So it says 10,000. That's just what Blowfin's giving away. We're like basically tripling that in value. We're putting up some of our own stuff. So you can sign up, compete, it'll be fun. And then also if you win like a free yearly BB membership or something like that, you're going to get like a custom badge in the Discord, and you get to rock the champions badge for a while. So you get some bragging rights. But yeah, guys, link is in the description. So it's going to run from December 1st through December 31st. You got 4 days to sign up and join us, guys. It's pretty lucrative. Should be fun. Just wanted to let you guys know that. And I'll remind you guys again on X, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again on the show. But just wanted to let you know you can sign up. So link is in the comment section. All right. Should be fun. Jackus, you're back up here.
No worries. I was cooking in the meantime anyway. Yeah. Maybe this is even more visually pleasing.
Yeah, that's nice. That's real nice.
Yeah,
season starts when BNB breaks out.
Well, that's something actually I'm noting right now. Like there's a couple or a good amount of L1s and L2s that are up double digits today. On on a mostly red day. Like, I think that could also be a possible sign of Bitcoin dominance coming to a top, right? When you see the major L1s and L2s, not ETH, not Sol, but like I'm seeing stuff like INJ, SUI, L2s like Velodrome, all up double digits today. Definitely showing relative strength compared to the weak market we've seen over the last day or two. So, I mean, that could be a sign as well. I don't know what you guys think about that, but I think that's a telling sign of larger cap, L1, L2s or mid caps starting to take the ball and starting to pump. That could be also a very telltale sign that Bitcoin dominance is close to topping, if not topped already.
Yeah, no, I agree, Louis. Something I was kind of noting when I was looking at some large cap VC utility, whatever we're calling them on a given day, tokens, they tend to get bid I think you're seeing some front running of probably some of those January flows that we were starting the show talking about. It's usually they tend to reinforce the existing trend. And I noticed with those coins, when January hit, they would just get TWAPed or TWAPed for basically the entirety of the month of January. And some of those were L1s. I think you're kind of seeing them perk their heads up a little bit here over the last few days. BNB, I think, had a 5 or 6% day a few days ago. STX was up like 15% at one point yesterday. So I think some of these coins are priming, or they're primed rather, for for a much larger bid, whether that's coming in December or January. I tend to think Sol and ETH will move first in any context, but I really don't think we're too far away from that dispersion coming to the crypto market.
And I would say probably most people are way under allocated to stuff like that because they've been chasing memes as well. So another catalyst for those
garbage memes, bro, like literal rugs.
Yeah, crazy.
People are spending too much time on pump fund. Like, it really does feel like it became. I don't even know anybody who's making money on pump fund outside of token.
The only people making money on pump fund are the pump fund team, bro.
It is what it is.
Jackus, what are the dates that you have highlighted for all your lines? Is it Thanksgiving through December, or like?
That's December. So
okay.
Every little line here is December. These ones. So you always, and even this one, right? So everything is December. And I took the bear market December that's marked with red. 1, 2, 3. And then you have the recovery December. I think that is not important. I just marked it with a circle. Mm-hmm. Then you have the either at all-time highs, below all-time highs, or above all-time highs December, or near all-time highs, we could call it, near all-time highs December. And then you have the cycle top December, wherever it comes right at it or slightly after, right? So I exactly like, maybe we are shorter than that, but generally speaking, could be something like this. And then the time, I find it crazy how it always lines up that just before the near all-time high December and the last one, that's when BTC really goes. And that's also when alts really go. And you can see it in the dominance chart. And I would say that, Tommy mentioned the BTC dominance being more like 2017 cycle. So obviously, we cannot see a drop from 96% down to 38. Like that's too much. But this one was kind of like, and it's funny to say because lots of alts are dead from the 2017 era. But this was kind of like, and I think you used it, Max, an embracement of the altcoin section or space, versus this one was more like a sprinting cycle. And even though they still produce an incredible returns. And you can even see, by the way, that basically this was like the whole move from January to May, and then the rest of the year it basically just ranged. That's because Bitcoin dominance is mainly ETH BTC chart. It's not like alts, because we've seen, alts that are even in top 10 pump like crazy. Like we saw, like since the bear market bottom, we saw Sol outperform Bitcoin. We see Doge that just pumped like 300%. XRP pumped like 300%. And guess what? Bitcoin dominance chart hasn't even moved. And the reason for that is first that BTC is moving up still with it. And second, that it's mainly again about ETH BTC chart, because of the market capitalization, of course.
Right.
So, but generally speaking, I think this is the best period, whether that ends here or later.
I think we've kind of like, it almost feels as though when I look at ETH Bitcoin just in its totality, that almost the equilibrium per se for the pair is near like 0.06. And obviously we will fluctuate above it at times and will fluctuate below it at times like we are right now, but inevitably it will course correct back into kind of more of that fair valuation. And so for the reason you just said, Jackus, I mean, Bitcoin dominance is basically just inverted ETH Bitcoin. I think that alone paints the best picture for a near Bitcoin dominance top. Realistically, like maybe you get one more leg down on ETH Bitcoin, and then it's like, that's probably the Bitcoin dominance top, because that's probably the ETH Bitcoin bottom. And I don't know if ETH Bitcoin is going to go to new highs this cycle, but I do think it can at least hit that equilibrium near 0.06 on the pair.
Those are some valid points. This is also crazy, right? If you look at the timings, I don't know if I have the correct one, but if you look at the timings of the prior cycle, wow, this is actually quite insane. Is that each time from the bottom, right? So I not only took the Decembers, but also the time since the bottom, because we can see that the Decembers can vary a little. Like here, this was right just below the final drop. This was the bottom, and this was after the bottom has been shaped. But I took the time since the very bottom, so 737 days, which is where we are right now. I extrapolated to the prior cycles, and each time, it basically gave you like this phase and this phase. And this is different if we take the time from the Bitcoin dominance bottom of the prior cycle and then the final shakeout top. That was 1081 days. And then if we extrapolate that to the current one, where like the final bottom was here, the shakeout bottom, because we saw lots of alts still pump, during this period. Not ETH-BTC, but lots of others. Even Sol, like if I were to put Sol on the equation, you can still see that Sol made, this is Sol BTC chart, not Sol USD, and you can see that the largest gains came exactly during this period. And the last one, when ETH-BTC was ranging and Bitcoin dominance wasn't really, moving, this is where majority of the gains came. So anyways, so if we extrapolate that to now, that's quite crazy.
Yep.
The longer you're in crypto, the more spooky things become with the time, right? Like you're highlighting right now, how it hasn't been different ever. Like every cycle has little bits and pieces that are moderately different than the previous one. Like, this past cycle, Bitcoin made an all-time high slightly before a Bitcoin halving, which had never happened before. Last cycle, we double topped, which had never happened before. In this previous bear market, we spent more time below the 200-week SMA than we ever had. But just kind of recognizing where you are in the cycle. And by that, I mean, it's time to be long or short. Should I be long Bitcoin or should I be long altcoins? there's not any evidence to suggest that it's really different. You know, it's like a program. It's literally it feels like a computer program that we're just like they try to kind of psyop you out of it. But what you're showing right here, Jackus, is that we are right on schedule, and it's looking really good for altcoins over the next few months.
Yeah.
Ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows.
This show is free, by the way, guys.
This is what?
This show is free.
Yes, it
Free,
is.
free.
So hit the like button.
It's crazy that this show is free, but we're men of the people.
Mhm.
I mean, man, we could even be like, if you just look at like, here, I might Tommy the chart from you real quick. I might just Tommy the chart. I think I'm gonna do it. I'm not asking. I'm doing it. That's what Tommy does. Is he
Okay.
just
I'm gonna
takes
crash out. I'm gonna crash out.
it. All right. Like let's look at this here. Let me get rid of all this. Wait, what is this? I have something saved as Tommy Fractal. What is this?
I'm a little afraid to know what it is.
Oh my goodness. Wait. It's this. Oh, Tommy. It's working. I don't know what this is. I saved it as Tommy Fractal.
We are watching that. We are watching that fractal. I don't know if that's my my current base case, but it is playing. So
Nope, you can't take it back. That's your base case. I love looking back at old fractals, bro. What is this? Oh my gosh. What did I draw here? Oh my god.
Almost.
All right. Anyways, enough of the old drawings. Let's like
So
look at this.
apparently we were just at 200 likes, so that's no more cooking for me for 2 weeks.
oh,
Oh,
Enjoy it.
oh.
Hope it was worth it.
Look what
Not
you guys
pressing the
did.
like
You
button.
messed up. You messed up real bad. You guys did this to yourself, you know? You did this to yourself. All right.
Can you ban this guy? I'm sick of
Who?
yeah, ban him.
Patrick.
Nuke him. What
Nuke him.
happened?
He's just been talking nonsense the whole show.
Is he waffling?
In all caps, he was shilling Brett, saying sell everything every like 2 minutes. He's just spamming the chat.
Okay.
It's been funny though watching the chat like insult him along the way.
Mhm.
Okay. So look at this. November 20. This was Thanksgiving week in 2020. And this is Thanksgiving week right now.
Yep.
That's kind of interesting.
Pretty crazy.
That's kind of nice, isn't it?
That is.
November 26th was Thanksgiving in 2020, so that was right here. I mean, what if, right?
The simulation is simulating.
I mean, what if, right?
Simulation is simulate.
Imagine you get stopped here and we go up here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just interesting, isn't it?
Right into December.
Tommy, be bullish for me. Tell me something bullish.
Oh, I'm bullish.
Anything. Just bullish.
Talk bullish to me.
I'm so
Talk
bullish,
bullish to
looking
me.
at a Celestia chart right now.
Tell me how bullish you are. Whisper
I'm
sweet
so
bullishness
bullish
into my
looking at
ear.
Oh
modularity.
yeah, you're bullish.
He's so bullish. He's suddenly bullish on modularity. That's bullish, man. That's almost too bullish.
Bullish.
Are you gonna long dimension with everything all your net worth now, Tommy? Is that how bullish you are?
I was just prospecting potentially buying Celestia, and then I stopped myself.
Good, man.
I
Good.
think,
Celestia before Andy, bro. Come on.
I'm just looking at some of these VC coins, and I mean they just look like it's almost time. Like STX, for example, STX reminds me a little bit of, and Jack has had like that structure on Sol. I think so many of these altcoins look like they're in a very similar place cyclically. STX kind of reminds me a little bit of SMCI before its most recent leg into parabola, and obviously all the fraud that came after it. But I mean, that would imply that STX is going up a lot from here. And it's like you guys said, the timing is a little bit spooky, because we were just talking about, you know, how these coins tend to get bid in January when you look at their charts, and we have all of these seasonal reasons for altcoins to be getting allocated to here in the immediate future.
He's bullish.
Yeah.
The kid is bullish.
The gentlemen are bullish.
I love that guy. He's in the Discord too. He'll just randomly like comment, "The gentlemen are bullish." So funny.
It's from the movie.
What movie?
I forget the name, but Russell Crowe plays there. It's about like he begins and he's selling the bonds, and it's like the gentleman is selling bonds onto the market, and then there's this other guy saying like, well, it presupposes that there's a gentleman involved, and then this guy goes on every day and he's like, gentlemen are bullish.
Have you guys seen the XLM chart?
Straight up.
What the?
XRP beta.
I know, but still, it's just so funny to see XLM literally rip a 5-6x in a month.
Yep.
It is 2021 all over again, man.
While everyone's holding low cap memes.
I have a
That's
feeling-
true.
I have a feeling those pumps on like dinos were caused by my guess is that they were like long-term short legs. Sophisticated entities stay long, stronger assets and just perpetually short dino coins that have been priced at the floor. And so these really sharp spikes are maybe just like huge short covering rallies from some of those hedges closing out.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because who else is bidding XLM, right? Like I know
Here-
XLP is pumping, but
Here's Thanksgiving week in 2016, 2020, and right now.
It's a pivot point.
This would be so painful if we did this.
so
Imagine,
painful.
oh my
imagine,
God.
imagine this. Imagine this. Oh, bro, people would die. People would die.
I don't even want to know what happens to altcoins if that happens. Like, do they go up?
I hope so.
Probably go up, but like in that scenario, Bitcoin dominance is mooning.
Yeah.
I do think that's possible. By the way, I was seeing somebody talk about not like the whole roller coaster up and down thing, but you know, Bitcoin really spiking above 100K. Apparently, on the 29th of this month, there's some rebalancing occurring as far as like what is going to be in the indices. And if MicroStrategy ends up in the NASDAQ, it's going to basically Saylor's Ponzi is going to have access to all the passive flows that the NASDAQ gets, which is a huge right tail that's not priced in the market right now.
So that's basically like everybody immediately gets direct exposure to Bitcoin through their 401ks.
Yes.
That's kind of
That is
epic.
not priced in.
Unlimited bid.
That's been his play the whole time, is force everybody to own Bitcoin, whether they know it or not.
Yeah.
If we get that headline, you're probably gonna like people are gonna bid the crap out of that.
Yeah, I could see that.
Let me see what the dates were for that again.
Look, man, you've come to the wrong spot. All right. You found yourself in the bad area of town. You came to the wrong spot, my friend. There's not much I can do to talk you out of that. I simply can't. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't do it. So you should do it, because you come to the wrong area of town, my friend.
Victor gave a super chat asking about staking.
So I'm not a big staker, but I think if there ever was a time to be involved in staking, it's like during a bull market, like Bitcoin and price discovery. That's
Yeah.
the least risky time to do it. So
Price
No,
going up.
no, I disagree. The best time for staking is during summer with your friends and family, drinking beer and do some delicious steaks. That's
Yeah.
the best time.
Well, yeah, as long as those staker wherever you're staking it remains solvent, right? That's why it's important for prices to go up while you're staking, because last cycle bear market, like stuff like BlockFi, like I was earning like 7-8% on my ETH and Bitcoin holding it on there. I got it out in time, but they went underwater. They went bankrupt during the bear market. So if you have money staking on something like that, like some of these platforms will go out of business come bear market season, right? They'll seem like some of the top companies in a bull market. Come bear market, you find out that they're not such great companies after all. So he mentioned specifically Coinbase. I think Coinbase is pretty safe at this point. Nothing's guaranteed, but out of everyone, I'd say Coinbase is probably your best bet. But like Max said, I think it's better off when prices are going up.
Here's the deal. I love what Louis said. Listen to him. If you don't know where the yield is coming from, then you are the yield, my friend, and it's a Ponzi. So there are two types of people out there. That are those that don't invest and never will because it's a Ponzi, and then there are those that must invest because it's a Ponzi. So if you find yourself in the camp of I must invest in this is a great Ponzi, then do it while things are frothy and get out before it ends, right? Even if it means getting out early. Like, go ahead and stake, get a little bit of yield, have some fun with it, but know that most of the time, if they are paying you above what the United States government can afford to pay you in fixed returns, a fixed yield, it's usually not sustainable. Okay. They can maybe, 200 basis points above, what 30-year, what the current 30-year offering is from Uncle Sam. Somewhat sustainable, right? Arguably market rate. Just know that if somebody's offering you 12 to 20 or more % yield, it's gonna fucking collapse. Okay. I'm telling you right now, they're either going to adjust it back down so that it goes from being unsustainable to sustainable and you just don't make as much, or the thing's going to implode. That's a personal guarantee. It's not sustainable. It's not real. It's not real. Okay. You cannot sustain a long-term 10 to 12 to 15 to 20% yield or whatever in any environment for more than like 12 months. All right. So if they're offering you like 3%, that feels pretty low risk to me. You're getting 20%. Enjoy it while it lasts, but get the fuck out before the Ponzi ends. Because I promise you, you are part of the yield, my friend. You are.
Three.
The only phase the yield can be high is during early phases when there is a big inflation, because you are incentivizing people to join your chain, whatever you do, right? But then as people come in, supply and demand should kick in, and the yield should be dropping. Other than that, there is no way to make a sustainable 20% yield if BTC is doing 20% on yearly on average. There is just no way.
Yeah, usually in crypto, high yield tends to come from price appreciation. And in the case of last cycle, you'd get yield in the form of token inflation that isn't a problem, when you have all these buyers and prices are all going up together. But it is a problem, obviously, in the bear market when somebody's got to buy those tokens and eventually liquidity dries up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's like Max said, if you're getting more than like holding a treasury bond, maybe be a little bit suspect of it. I'm not a huge fan of staking though in general, because I prefer to be liquid, and usually the yield that you get for staking isn't worth not being liquid. Although I think there will be the deeper we go into the bull market and the more liquidity that gets injected in the market, I think that perspective will change, right? There'll be more opportunity in some high risk yield farms. because those opportunities aren't going to be present in a bear market when liquidity's dried up, but they will be in a bull market. You know, you can take advantage of some of these things in the same way that you can trade a shitcoin, right? Like you trade a meme for the hype, and then the meme will die. It's pretty similar with a lot of these yield farms as well. I imagine we'll probably end up having some sort of Ohm Ponzi again this cycle, but it'll be named differently and with different steps.
Yeah.
You're
All
gonna
right.
want to play it if there is.
So that brings us into the end of the show. And Tommy, look who's on the cover of the BB website today. His Excellency.
Hold on, before I give the background, or I give the ending.
He was just
Yeah,
in Prague, by the way.
Jason, I'll address your super chat quick. I'm a little cautious with Caspa just for the short term. Like I'm still watching it every single day. But I haven't dabbled in KRC20s yet, so I feel bad I can't give you more insights than that. But I'll probably be interested in Caspa again early next year. All right, we'll get into the KRC20s and shitters again. All right. So yeah, Tommy, how does this picture of Justin Sun, His Excellency, make you feel?
I mean, I think Justin Sun is like crypto's very own cockroach. You have to admire it. Like he is just, you can't kill him. He can take hits in a million different ways, but you cannot kill Justin Sun. If he's even a real person. He's
real, bro. He's real. Tommy, how much would you pay for a pay-per-view fight of Justin Sun versus CZ?
CZ all day.
I mean,
how much would you pay to watch it?
It'd be really entertaining. But CZ would beat up on him. He's hardened now from prison. Justin Sun has been living, probably really good since he was a teenager.
But listen to what you just said. You can't kill him.
I would pay Vitalik versus Justin Sun.
That would be a better fight.
Yeah.
I think Justin Sun would kill him, bro. I think
Vitalik's got that reach, though.
Maybe East would finally go up.
All right, we're gonna tweet at Vitalik today, Jackus, and we're gonna say, to save Ethereum, we need you to fight Justin Sun.
Right. Make it go viral.
All right, Tommy, take us out, brother.
All right, guys, that concludes today's show. We hope that you enjoyed it. Obviously, we'll have one more episode of Market Check tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be our final show of the Thanksgiving week, and then we will be back, obviously, next week as well. That's applicable for Market Talk as well with Wabi, hosted through our Because Bitcoin Twitter account. So make sure to stay following and subscribe so you can be notified, not just when we schedule those spaces, but also when we go live. But that is our schedule for the week, guys. It is a special holiday week. Before I can send you on your merry way this afternoon, I do have to touch on a few things that will be of benefit to you, right? I mean, we talk about all the time how having a tool for this cycle, how useful that can be for you, right? Whether you are an active trader, dabbling in the perps, dabbling in the lower time frame trading, looking at open interest data. Well, we have just the product for you, right? BB Terminal. For active traders, we have all of that data already aggregated for you, along with a lot of other very useful data that will help cyclical timing, lower time frame, differentiation such as spaghetti charts. So check that out as well. But of course, we also have stuff for investors as well. If you are looking to build out a long-term plan for DCAing, long-term plan based on, obviously return-based data, we have data for you as well. We have tools for you. There is utility within the BB terminal for just about every single market participant that you can find. And soon we will also cater to degens as well by replacing some of the tools that you use every single day to be active in these trenches. So stay tuned for that as well. And we were nice enough to package your go-to tool for this cycle with our Discord, guys, which can be your go-to community and go-to source of alpha. We have some amazing testimonials from the Discord. If you still need to be convinced from people who are not us, if you've been watching the show long enough, you know that we've been crushing this market for, a few years now. So we do have evidence to back that up. But you guys get us free for 4 or 5 hours every single day on these morning and afternoon calls. You get access to our positioning and our thoughts on the market on everything as it's occurring. So make sure to check out the Discord, or make sure to check out both the BB Terminal and the Discord together, because like I said, we were nice enough to package these things for you together at a discounted rate. Of course, you are also running out of time to be able to hone your educational base or reach trading level mastery before this market really enters up only mode. And as I have said, you're not going to want to be spending, that precious time trying to continue honing in that educational base. So really take advantage of that now. I will say there is no bad time to be improving your education, but it is the best time right now before things get really, really crazy. So check that out as well. We have a great course, guys. You get to learn from every single member of the team just about, and obviously we have very different trading styles. So I think there's a lot of value presented there, being able to see the market through the eyes of multiple different analysts. Maybe all of that, relates to you, or maybe none of it does. Maybe you're just interested in having the team manage your money. Either way, guys, we have a solution for you as well, and that is BB Wealth Management. We have an SEC registered hedge fund that focuses on digital assets, guys, and does so in a way that looks to capture their historic returns to the upside while also balancing investment risk posed in any financial markets. So if having the team manage the money for you, maybe this cycle has already been too stressful for you, you're concerned about performance, maybe you just want to stash a little bit of your portfolio with the boys, we have a solution for you guys as well. The fund has also been crushing it since its inception, so I would recommend that as well. But like I said, guys, we are SEC registered, and we do have more information linked in the description below for all of the products that I have just described, so check them out. But that's it from us, guys. We will see you tomorrow for the final episode of Market Check of the week before Thanksgiving. But until then, guys, it is going to be a very illiquid week of trading. So as always, stay safe. And of course, thank you again for coming.